Hello, everyone. A very, very good afternoon to all of you. I hope you had tea and coffee and you're all set for the session. So we are very, very excited to show you something very cool today. And we'll try to finish in the given timeline. So that's the challenge here. But what we are going to talk about today is the challenge that we are facing in the modern era, right? Developing a website is not a challenge anymore. You have new design, you have Figma, you have Figma to code, you have AI. So it doesn't look like the challenge is developing a website. But the actual challenge is when you cannot go to market because the content in the other CMS is different than SitecoreAI. That's where the maximum time goes. And that's what we'll try to show, what we have built, which can resolve this. Now, we'll go a little fast in this kind of slides because you can meet us at the booth and we'll give more interaction. But this is me, Daivagna Nanavati. I'm a senior lead at Horizontal. Vignesh, if you want to...
Yeah, this is Vignesh. So I'm working as a principal engineer at Horizontal Digital. I have been working on Sitecore and commerce solution and digital platform for the last 5 years. Yeah, we'll start. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. So this is a brief agenda. So before we get into the technical tools and implementation, you have the overview of what's going to come, and then you can wrap your head around that. So we'll have some discussion about what are the problems. So we have bifurcated problems. So we actually took interviews of the content leads and content team of what challenges they are facing, and based on that, the tool that we have developed is developed. Then we'll have a breakdown of those problems. We'll show you step by step, what is there in a storytelling manner. So it is, you can relate to it with the technical and the real life scenario. Then we have the, actual demo where we'll go through how you can migrate from, any site to SitecoreAI, right? And also from legacy XM XP to SitecoreAI. We also have the third use case where this was derived from the issues of the content authors, where they are facing problem exchanging the content documents. They need to send it to customer fills it, send it back, they need to fill it into CMS. So how can we resolve that? So the result of that is, so let's start with the story, right? This is the story of, adventure of moving to a new house from your old house. Now, please raise your hand who have ever moved to an old house to a new house in your lifetime. A lot of people, fantastic. So what happens is, when you move to a new house, what happens is you're creating a new bungalow or a new house or a penthouse or whatever. You have, the room of your sizes, you have designed as per your needs, your outer color, inner color is as per your choice, a design pattern in the wall, everything is there. But the challenge comes, suddenly when you try to move your luggage, right? Because you have a lot of luggage, you have a lot of baggage in the old house, you want to take some with you. Suddenly you find that your sofa is not getting into the door, right? I have a house to live, but I cannot go in, I cannot start living. I cannot go to market in that way. So maybe my clothes are not fitting into my cupboard, right? Maybe my carpets are too smaller and my room is too big. So now what I do with the carpet, I want to reuse that. But there will be some of the things which will be reusable, maybe my photo frames. It's just the wall, I can take some photo frames and put it on the wall. So there is some reusability there. Now, if you relate it with the content scenario from any system to source system to target system, what happens is you have a Figma designs, right? But the content is a blocker. So nowadays, as I said, you can develop the website easily. You have Figma to code, you have AI. Component creation is not an issue. But what happens is that when your developer has developed the website, put it on the dev server, given to QA, we are ready to go live, and now the content is coming and customer is saying, content is there on the old platform, old website, right? Take it from there. I can't invest time here. So what happens is content author goes through the infinite cycle of grooming the document, sending back and forth to them, and then putting them into SitecoreAI. Now, because different CMS have different structures from SitecoreAI, content modeling is different, the data pattern is different. So it is obvious that this problem exists. There is no silver bullet to this solution, because every customer, every use case is different. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, what we have developed is the tool called Migrating. So we present you this tool. This is a market app, which is AI powered into it. So we are using Claude to do a lot of things. So it works as a co-pilot with us. What it has is, it has capabilities of migrating things from XP to XM, any site to SitecoreAI, and doc import. Doc import especially, which I mentioned for the content author. Let's see quickly what all of this does. If you see on the left-hand side, now I'm going to use some terminology. So if I say left source system, that means all of these systems, and target system means SitecoreAI. What happens in the XM XP to SitecoreAI is, we have created PowerShell. So what it does is, it goes into the skin of your existing XP XM. It exports everything which is out there, which is needed to be modeled into SitecoreAI. Because we know SitecoreAI, we know XP, we just need to create the bridge. So it creates your layout, your data source, your templates, your page templates, your renderings, your placeholder settings, puts them on the presentation detail, whatnot. Everything is done using that PowerShell. Now the benefit is the PowerShell script can be downloaded from the tool itself. You run it against your XPXM. It will omit the JSON, a big JSON of your Sitecore, existing Sitecore. What you do is you upload that into the tool again. So what you do is you upload that into tool again, and on the destination system, that is SitecoreAI, we also have the schema of SitecoreAI. I have a scaffolded site, or maybe I have a site which I just redesigned, right? So I'll have the schema of it. I'll also give it to the tool, and then it will be given to the tool, and there will be AI, and then we'll be writing a rule of the mapper so that, what it will do is it will map page to page, component to component, field to field, and then it will transfer your content exactly as your new component needs. And everything happens similarly for this any Sitecore as well, and the site structure doc is totally different. We'll show you. It's just a document template we have created to automate things, which is manual today. So let me quickly jump to the demo here. So very first use case I'm going to take is the any Sitecore. Customer A is invested in a third-party CMS or some other platform, and they want to move to SitecoreAI. Cool. So first what I'll do is, I'll just show you this one, that I have this blanket site in SitecoreAI. So it has nothing, it is empty, but it is designed, refreshed site created by a developer. So it doesn't have any pages right now because I want to import the pages using AI or our tool. But it has nothing, but there are renderings and everything created. So what I'll do is I'll go to the Migrating portal. I just refresh. And we are also using, you can see the sites here. So for our demo, we have taken the reference of the site Abbott. So if you see this, this is the site of Abbott. Abbott is developed using AEM, Adobe Experience Manager, okay? So if you see this, there is a banner image there, right? There is a header, footer, and then there are tags. Then you have content, a lot of content there. Then you also have the beautiful content here, related articles. So this is the use case that you will take, how I can transfer, a bunch of data directly to my pages and components inside SitecoreAI. If I go back to my Migrating, now what I'll do is I'll just first sync to my Google Drive. Why it is needed is because all of the progress that I'm doing, saving my JSON and all the profiles that I'm creating is being saved in this Google Drive. So that if I don't log in, nothing will work. So let me first log in there. Yeah, now what I'll do is I'll select the site. This is the site which I showed you in the pages editor, which was empty. So I'll select that site. And if you see here, I have a couple of profiles created. Now this profiles, what it does is you can give the sitemap of any website out there. It will intelligently identify that what CMS it is. So for example, I have one of the URL profile of content stack. I have one of the profile of Adobe. So I'll just go here. If I go here, if you see, it automatically identified from the page structure, because it is running AI engine behind the scene. So there is a prompting and a deep reasoning going on. What it does is, it goes to the every page structure and it identifies the common pattern. And then if it's a rendering, it will, categorize as a rendering. And if it's a page template, and if it finds 50 unique page templates, that when it will club into one page template and all the item will be shown underneath. So this is fantastic. So now what I see here is, you can see a lot of page templates were identified. So that means what now I will do is, now I want to migrate this content into SitecoreAI, into my new components or pages or page fields, right? So this is all the profiles that I have created. Now if I go to deploy, you will see, the page previously I selected which I want to migrate. Now there are a lot of information here. So if you see here, if I go to one of this page, what it identifies is, on this page, you have rendering of these types. So it has hero image. So yes, I have hero image, right? Hero image was right there. This is the hero image. It also identified that there is an article header. So article header is nothing but this particular thing combined is article header for it. So that means there is two component we already identified. And then we have a lot of other things, right? So basically what now I will do is, I will go to my rule engine, which is this rule engine. What we are doing here is, we are identifying the page template and the components here. So what if I go to one of the rule, what I'm saying is, my article detail page, now this is from the source system. So it identified that there is an article detail page. Now it should map to my blog post page. Blog post page is created by my developer on my new design refresh. So I already have that schema of Sitecore, right, with me. So it automatically now will identify. So basically, if you see this rule, it is basically just mapping, okay? Now if I go here, I'll show you the component rule, one of the component rule. What I'm doing here is, there is an article header, which is the source systems component. Now I have mapped it to Sitecore's hero component, because I know that I have my hero component, which was extracted from Figma, which had Lorem Ipsum content. But content, the component is ready with the design, right? It just needs content. So now if you see below, I have given the mapping that source systems components title should go to heading, subtitle should go to there. So there are mappings defined. So now what will happen is that, if I go and do this import and I do the apply rules, what it will come up with is, it will give you the human insight, human eyes saying that, okay, your 5 sugar subtitle ideas for people page, had this template map, and this source system, article header, article body, everything is source systems component. Now they are mapped with hero with 2 fields into it. So now what it will do is, it will give me a very nice looking tree, because this is kind of a preview as well, that it shows that preview that when you go to Sitecore and import, this is the hierarchy it will create, and on the right-hand side, it is also showing me that, okay, which field will be updated with what data. Now, if you see this very serious and fast, that's the exactly same thing here, right? So it is actually getting it from there and mapping into the fields. So what I'll do is, I'll just quickly run the import to XM Cloud. So what it will do is, behind the scene, as I said, it will do the mapping of the rule engine. So we have the rule engine. It will run from the source system. Rule engine will run. It will call the content SDK and authoring API, and it will start creating items. It will also create the related items. So if you have a component with CTA, and in that CTA some external page is linked, that also will be imported along with these pages. So if I go here and quickly refresh the page, which was blank before, you'll be able to see all of the page getting exported. It will take 15 seconds.
I think import is still going on.
Yeah, it will come. You see the same hierarchy it created, right? Fantastic. This was the page. Your content got right into the newly designed, refreshed website that you created. Now, if I go here, and this is absolutely, page is editor friendly, because, it's a native content for Sitecore now. If I do some modification and then changes, and then, I'm good to go. If I just do it, right there, your newly designed refresh, got content in the flash of your eyes. I think this will boost the productivity much for the content author and developer as well, where they don't need to run around for the content. So that was one of the use case. The second use case, which Vignesh will be showing is, So we have another customer who is invested in XP 10.3. So this is our medical client who is Apex, who are invested in XP. Now they want to migrate to the Sitecore AI. Vignesh?
Yeah, so we have seen the migration from any website to Sitecore AI, right? This use case will be a migration of your Sitecore instance to Sitecore instance migration, where this will allow us a feature to migrate from your XP to XP XM and then to the Sitecore AI instance with the new data modeling and new structure, everything we can migrate it. Yeah, so this will be a different app. Like we have built three different apps. One, this is the app for the Sitecore XP to XM migration. So here we have two options basically. One will be the site builder, where people who wants to do the migration from lift and shift from everything to like template, component, layout, structure, everything. If you would like to do from scratch, then site builder will be an option for that. And there will be a content migration, so that is something post your development or during the development. If you would like to shift only the content, then this will be an option available on this tool. The process will be kind of same, where you will be selecting the source site. So let's say we have built some demo site here, so you can see the Apex
You can
site.
look here, that's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
Look here.
Yeah, you can select the site here, and then the language which you would like to select.
Use buttons.
So once site is loaded, so basically there are few prerequisites which we have to follow. So that is something we have mentioned in the other tool as well. So exporting data from XP. So how the export works here, based on we have a couple of dedicated scripts which we written. So that will scan through the XP environment fully, and then it will export your all pages, content, template, the entire data from your XP into a JSON file, and that will be the first step which we have to follow. And then next step will be a prerequisite, which we are actually exporting your the blueprint of your current Sitecore instance. Basically, when you create a new Sitecore site, right, you will get some basic page template, components, all those, right? So that will be, we are exporting to get the data right into the right components, right pages, basically. So this will be applicable for all type of tools which we are managing. So if you look at the tool on this top toolbar, you have four options. One is rules engine, and then again you have a settings icon, which will allow you to download this prerequisite file, which is a zip file, which will have all your PowerShell script and an instruction guide. So with that instruction guide, you can go to the respective Sitecore A and Sitecore XP instances, and you can get those output data basically. Let me quickly show how you can do that. Uh, so I have opened this. This is our Sitecore XP instance, which we spinned up for this demo, and you can let me show you. Okay. You can click on this open link. Basically, this will give us the zip file, and this zip file will have all the PowerShell script which is necessary. So I have already uploaded the PowerShell data on this one. You can see the uploaded data here, and the moment when you sync, it will automatically get synced to a Google Drive, and this session will be reused across all Google accounts which you are signed in. So after the first step, which we have, we can see the two panel layout here. The first one is the Sitecore A virtual content tree. This will be a representation of your current Sitecore XP instance and how it looks in the new website. So here is where you can do certain like activity, like you can reorganize pages. Basically, when we do the content migration, right, we may have to like reorganize the pages as per the new standards or SEO standards, right? So you can move the pages, you can delete the pages if you would like to do. We can rename the pages as well. We are also allowing a feature to create a redirection rules as well, that is in progress now. So now this is all about the left side tree. You can expand this particular tree here. You can click on the page and you will see the details about those pages. Basically, what page fields you have. So you might be having in your XP a lot of metadata fields like SEO data, a lot of fields over there. So you can use our rules engine to like configure once and shift all those hundred thousands of pages with the page fields. And you can see the components as well, like different components we are having, which are all exported from XP. These are like not mapped to the Sitecore AI components now. You can see the actual original components now. Now the next step is like creating a rules engine. So this rules engine is kind of an unified one for all kind of imports we are maintaining, but the source will be different. In terms of any site, your source will be the AI extracted data, but in terms of this XP, it will be a very structured data which is comes from Sitecore XP. Now you can see the field mapping rules. So let's say I have created a couple of rules which through our site builder, which is a fresh import. So here you can see, like, you can select your XP field and then A field and where you want to target it, whether you want to target to a page or you want to target to a component. This is a very generic rule which will be executed at very first as a priority. Now coming to page template, you might have one page template in your XP. You might wanted to shift it to a new template. So that selection you can do it here. So you can select a page template from XP. You can select a branch template in your XM code if you would like to retain the existing component structure, all those which were predefined. Now coming to the next rule, which is component mapping rules. Component mapping rules are slightly same, but this has more feature to handle complex cases. Like basically you can select your XP component, one component, and you can define the relationship, like how you want to data model in the new Sitecore. If you think in Sitecore XP, basically you will build one listing component, you will have data and then root item, child item, everything nested in one component, right? When we are redesigning Sitecore AI, we might have redesigned in a such a way, like a container, multiple nested component. We would like to have it as a variant and assembled in a different pages, right? So this kind of complex thing you can do it here. Let's say I'll show you one component which we have transformed into a multiple components. You can see here the XP component was service listing grid, and then you can see the container which is going to be the.
Can you show the service listing
Yeah,
grid
okay.
on the website?
Okay, so if you look at here, this is the XP page which we built for this demo. Nearly like around 150 pages we spinned up. It has a header, and you can see the listing component. This listing component is the data source, and then child items, which has a couple of fields in the core data source, and then couple of fields in the card data source. So everything is a single component in XP.
So basically, it's not the simple use case only it can handle, but it can only also handle the complex use cases where you have multi-list feed inside core, some complex data schema there. You can also write a rule which can transform those things into this kind of component as well inside core.
Yeah, so basically, like, you have a, let's say you have a RTE field or some field which has an image field. You would like to create as a separate image component, that you can try using this one, and you can create a lot of rules. You can do the same thing, XPX, all those rule mapping. Here, one option, actually, we also like import my images as well. You can define how you want to transform your fields, like whether you want to create a link items, all those you can do it with here. So once you define all those rules, basically again you have to apply the rules. Again, you will see whatever rules applied on each of your pages. Like if you have 100 pages, you will see all those rules will be applied here. So we are not using AI behind the scenes because we want the accuracy and less cost for this kind of migration process. So you can apply it behind the scenes. Code will apply all the rules. Now you can see, like, let's say one of the page which I'll try to import here. Let me show you this. Okay, just okay. Yeah. Okay, you can select the page and click on import. This page will
You can
get
look here,
imported.
that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Look into this.
Yeah, okay. So when we do the import, basically the page will be imported, data source, content, and based on your placeholder hierarchy, if the Sitecore is like following the standard practices, then the entire page will be built using your the existing configuration. So the now page is created. Basically, I think it will be visible on the page builder.
So we also have the structured document scenario as well. But I think if anybody is interested, we can meet at booth. We can show you everything in detail, because This tool has a lot of feature, so we won't be able to cover everything, but it has a lot of top, bottom, left, right to it. So some callouts are there. So there are some special mentioned for this. So this tool is focused on presentation element of Sitecore pages, right? Actual legacy sites and CMS can have a lot of other things which will require CMS discoveries. So we are not saying that you should not do that. It is there for you to boost your productivity. Discoveries are always needed because there could be element in the source system which are not outputting, right? There are a lot of business processes which might be happening which you need to discover. Then other CMS could have a lot of different types of data models, pattern, architecture, behavior. This tools does not look into CMS, but instead it focuses on final output of the CMS. Basically, what we have thought of is whatever you do in the CMS, ultimate output is your website. So we have taken the website and do the reverse engineering because content is there, your design is there, everything is there. So can we make use of it to boost the productivity? That's the concept. Now, for any site-to-SitecoreAI, this tool uses AI, to identify different pattern of pages, components, and common patterns. So human need to make decisions what to keep and what not to keep. That's why that rule engine is there. You have to decide what you want to transfer. So now, before I close off, I was just thinking to give this thought away because, when the Figma is being designed, there is only Figma team, design team, and the content and the tech team. If we put content team also there in the same meeting and the discoveries and put the content in Figma itself, if you do Figma to code, you don't need to worry about all of those hassles. So if we change the process a little, I think there can lot of the things can be done. So that was the thought process if we can do that. Appreciate our sponsors. Without them, of course, this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you for them.